Hey, family. In this video, we are going to talk about the 1099 NEC, which is for non-employee compensation. I want to take a look at it from the angle of the recipient. So if you are receiving a 1099 NEC, but then I also want to take a look at it from the point of view of the issuer. So if you are a small business owner and you have to issue 1099s to your contractors, okay? So before we get into it, if you're new to me, you're new to this channel, my name is Timalyn Bowens and I am America's favorite EA. As an enrolled agent, I'm licensed through the Internal Revenue Service to represent taxpayers before them. So I hope you're never in the situation, but just to give you an example, if the IRS is auditing you, levying your bank account, you're in a correspondence audit, I'm your person that steps in your shoes to handle that situation for you. Okay? And I own a firm, Bowen's Tax Solutions, located in Louisville, Kentucky, but it's a virtual firm, so I literally have clients all over the world. Now that we know each other, let's take a look at this 1099 NEC. So, as the name says, it is to track the income that's paid to non-employees. Now, the IRS does have strict rules and criteria to help you determine whether somebody is a contractor or an employee. For contractors, we are not going to have any taxes withheld unless they have a backup tax withholding requirement. Okay? And that happens when they don't give you the correct tax identification number, which is either their EIN or their social, as you see here. Or if the IRS has reached out to you with a lock-in letter and said, hey, you have to withhold part of their income and send it to us. Now, for backup withholding, that's typically 24%. But because that doesn't apply to most taxpayers, I'm not going to go too deep into it. Okay. So here we see an example of a 1099 NEC. Now, this is a continuous use form, which means you're not going to see the tax year actually printed on it. You're going to have to put it in yourself if you're the person preparing it. So this is for calendar year 2025, the one we just went through. So if you were issuing these, you want to make sure that it says the tax year that we just came from. So this year, these forms are to be made available to the contractors, the recipients, on February 2nd. Now, this date is typically January 31st, but the 31st falls on a Saturday this year. So the next business day is February 2nd. If you need additional time to get them to the IRS, I have another video where I talk about the 8909 that will walk you through how to request an extension of time to file to the IRS, but not the recipient. So to read this, we know that this is for 2025. Then we're going to go to the payer's information. So this is the business that actually hired the contractor, okay? So in this example, we have America's Best Plumbing, Inc. They're located at 2017 North 22nd Street in Covington, Kentucky. All right. Now, for some issuers, payers, they also include their phone number. Okay. It's not required, but it is nice if the contractor needs to reach out to get information that maybe doesn't appear correct on here. Okay. Next, we're going to look at the payer's tax identification number. So this is America's Best Plumbing's tax identification number, which is their EIN. This 9-digit number helps the IRS track payments and then also information forms that have been issued by America's Best Plumbing. So they'll use this for issuing W-2s, 1099s, you get it. And it can be found on the EIN letter that you receive after submitting your SS4 to get an EIN. Next, we have the recipient's tax identification number. Now, in this situation, our recipient, our contractor, they use their social security number. So we see here that we have the nine numbers and it's listed different than the EIN, right? So the recipient's name is Joseph T. Plummer. If you were around for the 2008 presidential election, you should know all about Joe the Plumber. So this will be his doppelganger, right? So we have Joseph T. Plummer. His business or street address that he gave to America's Best Plumbing is going to be 2212 North 13th Street, and he's located in Columbus, Ohio, zip code 43119. Now, check this out. America's Best Plumbing didn't have to go say, "Hey, Joe, what's your information?" Before they ever give Joe a payment, they should collect a form W-9 that already has all of Joe's information, such as his tax identification number, his legal name. Note, we know this is Joe the Plumber, but his legal name as it appears on his tax return is going to be Joseph T. Plummer. And then the address that he wants it issued to. If you, as a contractor, haven't received your 1099 for somebody you worked with, you may need to reach out to them because the information on your W-9 may not be correct. Okay. Now, these are supposed to be mailed to the recipients, e-filed to the IRS if the business has to file more than 10, mailed to the recipients, but a lot of businesses now will ask the contractor, hey, is it okay if we not e-file, email this to you, get it to you in a digital portal or email it to you? If you're the business owner listening to this, you cannot send them the 1099 NEC electronically if they have not opted into it. If you have not received a response, that means you need to get this mailed to them no later than February 2nd, 2026 for the 2025 tax year, okay? Because you don't want to be faced with the penalties that there are for filing this late. All right? So moving along, the account number is not necessary. Some businesses that deal with a lot of contractors assign different account numbers to those contractors. Okay. This could apply also if you have contractors that have the same name. So, for example, my name is Timalyn. I have a dad whose name is Tim, a brother whose name is Tim, and now a nephew whose name is Tim. Now, my nephew likely won't be working at the same time as my dad or brother at the same place. However, there were situations when the three of us all lived in the same house that banks would get our information mixed up and send it to the wrong customer. Assigning account numbers when you have contractors or employees that live at the same address or have the same name will help you to differentiate them. Okay. Now, if you're a contractor, the part that you really care about, here in box one, you will find the amount of money that was paid to you from the company throughout the tax year for you as a contractor. And this could be a plumber like Joe here. This could be somebody who is doing Lyft, DoorDash, Uber, any other type of gig. Maybe you write online, you help do AI stuff, whatever it is, freelancer. The total amount here is what you were paid throughout the year. Now, check this out. If you're a contractor that has to buy materials, such as a plumber, material and supplies, the total amount that the company paid you for your labor and the material and supplies is going to be included in this number. For you, you're going to report this number on Schedule C, typically, if you are a sole proprietor, or if you're a farming contractor, Schedule F, depending on if it's your farm or not, right? And then it's your responsibility to deduct those materials and supplies on your Schedule C when you file your tax return. Okay, so same situation kind of here. Box two, if we have someone who's in direct sales, so let's think network marketing. So when I was younger, Amway was huge. Let's say we have somebody who's contracted with Amway, they're selling their products, they're doing really good. If they were to receive a 1099 from Amway, this box would be checked to indicate that they sold at least $5,000 or more in consumer products. So that's letting us know that a portion of this right here is going to, in fact, be inventory. So that's something that kind of lets the IRS know what's contributing to the amount that's in box one. Okay. Now, box three, not going to go into in much detail. This amount and golden parachute payments, that's not going to apply to, I wouldn't even say 10% of people who are going to get a 1099 NEC, in my humble opinion. But if you have something in there, that is going to be subject to an excise tax. If you don't have anything there, congratulations, you don't have to worry about it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, with the 1099 NEC and with contractors, taxes are not withheld, which is good for the company that you are contracting with, but not so great for you as the contractor, because now that means you are responsible for putting away your own Social Security and Medicare tax, which we call self-employment tax, in addition to your federal, state, and potentially local tax. Okay. Now, remember, yes, you're going to get to write stuff off, but withholding and remitting taxes is now your responsibility. Now, box five is going to tell us if there is any state tax withheld, because the state can reach out to the company you're contracting with, just like the IRS, and say, hey, they are in some trouble with us. Here's a lock-in letter. Here's the amount that you need to send to us each pay period. All right. In that situation, the amount withheld and sent to the state would be here. In this example, Joe's an upstanding taxpayer. He doesn't have those problems. But in box six, we see the state of Ohio. So the abbreviation for the state goes here. And then their six-number minimum state number is going to go right here. All right. Now, box seven is going to let us know how much money they actually made in the state of Ohio. Now, Columbus is pretty far from Kentucky, but we do have situations where we have Covington, Kentucky, and Cincinnati, Ohio. They're a hop, skip, and jump away from each other. Or we have Kentucky and Indiana, Ohio, Indiana. So it's not uncommon to actually see more than one state for box six and then more than one amount for box seven. Okay, so if you see that, that just means that the contractor, you, if you're the contractor, earned money in more than one state and they're just reporting where you actually made it at. For you as the business issuing this, you need to be keeping track of where your contractors are making money so that you can report those things. Okay. Now, I know this was a little bit different because I wanted to look at it from both points of view. If you're a contractor and you haven't received your 1099 NEC as of right now, I wouldn't be in too much panic because, again, the due date for the issuers to get them to you this year is February 2nd, 2026. Check the mailbox, check your email to see if they're asking you to opt in to receiving it digitally. Then for my taxpayers who are the business owners and you're having to issue these, you need to make sure that the IRS gets a copy, the recipient gets a copy, and then in some states, you also have to issue a copy as well as the locality. So, for example, I live in Kentucky. The IRS would need a copy. Kentucky does not want a copy, but Louisville, the city of Louisville wants a copy. So it's very important that you understand your filing obligations there because of the USPS postmark rule. If you're mailing these, make sure that you get it in time to actually be stamped because even if you drop it off on February 2nd, but the post office stamps it February 5th, it is going to be considered late. Okay. So I highly recommend that you actually e-file these. And I've partnered with 1099.com. Down below in the description, you will see an affiliate link there where they walk you through the process, asking you for the information that's required to actually e-file your forms. And it's a pretty seamless, easy process where they make sure everybody that's supposed to get a copy gets one. They'll even mail them to your contractors for you, right? And of course, I have a disclaimer because I've partnered with them. If you use my link, I will receive a commission. Okay? So now that we got that all out, if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. If it's something that I can answer, more than happy to let you know. If it's something that's going to require research or go into more detail, I can recommend another resource or you can book a call with me. You enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next video. All right? Bye now.